Hi, everybody. This is Judy McKee again. It's always a delight to be with you. I love training the trainers. I literally came out of retirement to do it. And not that you should feel sorry for me, but because I love doing it. And even though I'm an old bag, I still love to do it. And if there's anyone who wants to learn it, they can come. I'm not going to hustle, though. I quit the hustle. No more, no more hustling. I don't like it. Well, actually, I loved it for many, many years. I enjoyed it because people all became my old friends, and I was never afraid to call a stranger. That was kind of lucky for me. Never, ever afraid to talk to a stranger. My mother told me never talk to strangers. I guess that's probably why, because I always did it, went against whatever my mother said. But I would very much like to talk to you today, and I'm going to do a real short segment. And in this segment, we're going to talk about the magic art of asking questions. Now, there's a live video on YouTube under live under my space in which I explain the kinds of questions the trainers need to be asking themselves in order to write a training program that works for their company. However, really it's about communication. And since it's about communication, these questions could be asked of anyone at any time. And what I want you to see is that that's the truth. See, you're connected to something. Everything is connected to everything else, is what I always used to say. And I loved it when I saw my daughter, Sally Cordova, do the training one day. And she said, my mom always said, everything is connected to everything else. And it's turning out that I was right about that. That's really nice. I'd like to be connected to everything and everything connected to me. Sometimes it's a bother. You know, like somebody does something I don't like across on the other side of the world, but somehow I feel it, so why would I feel it? Except we're connected on some fashion, some way. So what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about beginning the process. So please go backward and watch about a 25-minute video on the questions you need to ask yourself before you start writing a training program like this. These are the questions I asked myself, and it really helped me to move my training along so that I knew what kinds of questions to teach everyone else. And so I just want you to know that this training is really built on consciousness. It's built on principle. It's built on things like whatever you resist will persist. It's built on learning how to ask a question that will not hurt your customer, your client, your mother, your sister, your uncle, your friend, your children. And when you learn the art of asking questions, it will be like the law of attraction. Everybody's going to want to hang out with you. That's right. They are. They're all going to hang out and want to hang out with you. Because it works everywhere, because there is principle involved. The principle is what goes around comes around. Or the law of attraction. Whatever you think of, you attract. What did Ernest Holmes say? He said, if you name the cause, you cause the effect. Or other famous people who were psychologists and psychiatrists and doctors of all form, and they would say, argue for your limitation, and it is yours. So when you base things on principles like that, I mean, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and over is the definition of insanity, and expect to get some new result, but the same thing, you do the same thing. That's the definition of insanity. So we don't want to do the same thing over and over again. And this is what is in the other session. I just tried to figure out what worked and what didn't work. I do not have a lifetime to train people. I have one day in the olden days, one day to train people. And so why would I waste a single second on anything that did not really work, That's how my training got developed. It was cute. I sent out a mass mailing, and an old friend of mine from, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago sent me the sweetest email saying that she loved my training and my sales survival guidebook. She says the best sales book that she ever read, and she never forgot learning the llama. See, that's the kind of thing you want. You're a trainer. That's the kind of thing you want to feel like. You want to learn. Well, here's the first thing to learn about it. The art of asking questions is the person who asks the questions is the person who's in control of the conversation and of guiding the path of the conversation, who is controlling the communication system that you are using. And when you do this, you will feel funny at first. It'll feel funny because you have a lot of those other rules that you've made up, like I don't want to interrupt the customer, I don't want to anyway, lots of things. You have all those rules that you already have made up. I would like you to give up some of those rules because they don't work. Because what ought to work for everyone is that the person who's in control of the conversation is almost always the person asking the questions. Now, I will admit I will allow a customer or a client or someone, anyone, to be in control, but I know when I'm giving up the control. I'm so knowledgeable about it. I know when I'm not doing it. I know when I gave it over. I know when I can take it back. You know, a man tried to make me wrong once. It was really interesting. He was a lawyer, and I've heard all the lawyer jokes, but I went to train about 13 states for a law group. And in one of them, the owner of the company asked all the lawyers to attend a training that I was doing for customer service representatives. And I was teaching them how to handle the upset customer. Now, why? Because, you don't call your lawyer if you're happy, right? And so what he did was, this one lawyer, I forgot to tell you, I made them put name tags on everybody. And the lawyers had a different name tag than the customer service rep. So I knew immediately that this was an attorney and not a customer service rep. And so when I say everyone ought to know how to use questions, I mean it, because you might get asked a question that insults you, like he did. He raised his hand a little bit right in the middle of my opening. I'm trying to get a buy-in. I'm loving everybody. I'm looking at everybody. I'm trying to bring them in so that they will listen and trust me. And he raises his hand and interrupts me, but I can handle a heckler. So I say, "Oh, hello, yes, what can I do for you?" And he goes, "Oh, I just wanted to know if you're teaching this stuff today, but are you an attorney?" Now, that question wasn't because he wanted to know if I was an attorney. He just wanted to look smarter than me. He wanted to look like I don't have a law degree, so therefore who the heck am I teaching them? He also probably was mad at his boss for not being allowed to just stay away from this class. He thought it was beneath him because he's an attorney and the person teaching this class hasn't even got a college degree. Well, he didn't know that, but he thought, how can I make myself right and everybody else wrong? Now, the interesting part about that, when you become a master of the Lama, and you go by the principle not to make other people feel wrong or stupid, and you always want to make them feel right and smart, and you have the power to do that, you will always feel righter and smarter anyway. I kind of felt sorry for him because I could have taken him down. But I knew that we have a whole audience. I'm looking at the whole board. I'm looking at the owner. I'm looking at the vice president. I'm looking at the attorneys who didn't show up. I'm looking at the customer service reps who need my training on how to handle the upset so they don't have to get beat up every day. I got to look at the whole board. By the way, they won't like it if I make him wrong. And yet I'm now in control. He threw the question to me. So I just said, no, I'm not an attorney. I said, that's a great question, but no, I'm not an attorney. But I do teach communication skills all over the country. And I'm hoping that you already know everything about the law, because I know nothing about the law. But I know a lot about how you can communicate better what you know about the law. Would that work for you? And he goes, yeah, that's fine. That's okay. But you know who controlled it? I did. I didn't make him wrong or stupid. I made him look right and smart. I ran the class. I looked at the whole board. I decided what to do, because I could have taken him down. I could have made him feel wrong and stupid and bad-mannered. And in fact, on the lunch break, or the first break that we took, I was called down to the owner's office, the man who hired me, and he was apologizing for this person. And it was kind of fun, because I said, you know what, you don't have to apologize for him. I get it, what he did, and you don't have to, because I had a wonderful training day after that, and he was fine. Don't even reprimand. Don't say anything to him. Leave him alone. I can handle a heckler. All right. So we want to remember that we want to listen. We do. We want to listen to what our customer is saying, what our client is saying, what our trainee is saying, and we want to find out if they have another agenda, which is, of course, what this man had. He had another agenda entirely. He doesn't know me enough to be mean. He has another agenda. And since he does, I already know that. And you need to know that too. So think about it from now on, that what you want to do is you want to own the room, train your trainees to understand that people have another agenda. They usually don't tell the truth. It's a surface conversation. I have a thing that I teach in customer service called the upset is never the upset. No, it's something under that. It is. It's something under it. Really, customers and clients want to be satisfied. And they never want to look wrong or stupid. They never want that under any circumstance whatsoever. Never. So it becomes your job to make sure that that customer feels satisfaction. And you can do it, trainers, by teaching your agents these principles about how to ask a question that will actually work to get the results they want. Now, I'm going to do this series with several things. One of the things I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you the kinds of questions we're going to learn, and I'm going to explain each one of them in detail and how to use them. But right now I want you to know what they are, and you can write this down, or if you got a workbook, you can write it there. There are 4 types of questions you need to concern yourself with all the time. Now, there are other questions. There's probably 50 other kinds of questions too, but these are the most important when you're teaching the art of asking questions in communication. So number 1, people need to know how to ask an open-ended question. Now, open-ended questions encourage explanation and encourage conversation. But here's the trick. If you ask someone an open-ended question before they trust you, they're not going to answer it. They aren't. They're going to be upset because you haven't formed the safe space yet. Many people that train this say you should ask an open-ended question right away so that your customer can give you all the information you need. But there's a problem there. Someone called me a few weeks ago. I always have my phone number listed, and I get every call. And he said his name was, and he was from some money firm, like Shearson or American Express, something like that. And he said, what kind of a plan do you have in place now for your retirement? Now, he said his name was Kevin. Kevin who? I don't even know you. Do you think I would give my personal information to someone named Kevin who came from a big name company? An open-ended question? Of course not. I think I just hung up on him. But someone told him, ask an open-ended question, and he never thought it through. He wasn't expected to. But you are the trainer now. You have to open your mind to hearing what happens to the customer when you ask them an open-ended question. 2, closed-ended questions. Now, those are easy to answer. Usually, excuse me. Usually, they require a yes, no, a short answer. A very short answer. Where are you going? Out. What are you doing? Nothing. Closed-ended question. Closed-ended questions are often database. What is your birthday? What is your phone number? What is your email address? What is your secret code? Closed-ended questions usually require a yes or no or a very short answer. And the database questions are used to help yourself out. So wait a while till I get to database. Alternate choice. Either you want chocolate or vanilla. What? This or that. That's an alternate choice. Easy. Multiple choice question. That's when you've got several choices. You know, and I put an example when I get into that part of the training that just says, well, do you want apples, oranges, pears, plums, tangerines, or bananas? What do you want? Now, the customer is immediately overwhelmed. They only wanted one fruit, you gave them 6. It's too much. So you have to learn how to ask a multiple choice question. And if you have a lot of choices, it's not a good thing if it overwhelms the customer. So you will want to break those choices up into, something and set up the customer. We've got a lot of choices for fruit in here. And so let me give you a couple of the major ones and then a couple of the minor ones. Okay? All right, that's the end of this session. It's been a pleasure training you. And I hope you get started in the right direction. This is the beginning. And remember, it's your job to train others to learn how to do things while building their skill at communication and their self-esteem. You will never fail if you do those things. All right, I gotta go. Bye.